And that's kind of difficult, like mentally, to be like, but this is the fight against Jon Jones. Like, not the fight is another thing.
Yeah.
This is the tricky bit where I really have to stay switched on, stay motivated, and I'm trying my best.
Just for an update, Tom Aspinall said that he's getting frustrated waiting. He said it's very difficult mentally on him, but he said that this right here, this waiting is the fight for him. Waiting on Jon Jones to set the date, stay motivated. It's a tricky bit for him to stay motivated, and he's trying his best.
Tom Aspinall didn't hold back during a recent live appearance, taking aim at Jon Jones and accusing him of avoiding a showdown. When asked if Jones might be dodging the fight due to money issues or simply a reluctance to face him, Aspinall suggested it could be a bit of both, that he hinted at having insider knowledge regarding the financial side of things, but admitted he couldn't reveal specifics. Aspinall also asserted that he poses a serious threat in the octagon, and he's confident Jones knows it, too.
Well, I can tell you some stuff about the money situation, but I'm not sure I can say it on camera, so I will tell you that after. I think I'm a bad matchup for him, to be honest. And I think he knows it.
Aspinall hinted at inside knowledge about the financial side of things, though he admitted he couldn't share those details on camera. "I'll explain more off the record," he said, before adding that he genuinely believes he's a difficult stylistic matchup for Jon Jones, and suspects Jones is well aware of that. Despite the pointed comments, Aspinall ended on a respectful note. He made it clear that he understands Jones's perspective and holds no personal animosity. For him, the focus remains squarely on winning the title. It's not about drama or feuds. It's about proving he's the best in the division.
I honestly can see Jon's point of view. I get it.
Yep.
I get it. It's just about the title for me.
Yep.
I just want the title, that's it.
Yep.
Does nothing else really matters. So, yeah, I get it completely. Get his point of view. Get what everybody's saying. Completely understand. I just want to prove.
Daniel Cormier weighed in on Tom Aspinall's current mindset, noting the rising frustration the interim champ is experiencing while waiting for a confirmed fight. According to Cormier, the mental toll of inactivity is starting to wear on Aspinall, who feels like the real battle right now is just enduring the wait. Cormier explained that Aspinall is doing his best to stay focused, but staying motivated without a clear fight date, especially from Jon Jones, is becoming increasingly difficult. He just wants to compete, but nothing's moving. Cormier said that on a more hopeful note. Cormier mentioned that Jon Jones has acknowledged the situation, saying he knows exactly what he's doing and that a fight with Aspinall is on the horizon. Fans, Cormier added, can remain optimistic, especially with talk of the potential bout taking place at Madison Square Garden in New York City.
Just for an update, Tom Aspinall said that he's getting frustrated waiting. He said it's very difficult mentally on him, but he said that this right here, this waiting is the fight for him. Waiting on Jon Jones to set the date, stay motivated. It's a tricky bit for him to stay motivated, and he's trying his best, but at times it gets very difficult knowing that he wants to fight, but he's not getting the fight right now, especially. But Jones did say that he knows what he's doing and he will fight Tom Aspinall. So at least we have that to look forward to at some point. Hopefully, Madison Square Garden in New York City.
Tom Aspinall opened up about the mental toll that his current period of inactivity is taking on him. While he's previously endured more serious injuries, he explained that this stretch feels harder mentally, mainly because there's no clear roadmap this time around. Reflecting on past setbacks, Aspinall shared that recovery was more manageable when he had structure, like knowing when he could resume grappling or hit specific rehab milestones. Having a timeline gave him something to work toward and helped him stay positive, even when others doubted his mental state. Back then, I felt fine because I had a path. Now, it's the waiting with no direction that's tough, he admitted.
I've been almost a year inactive with no prospects of anything apart from weight.
Yeah.
So now is actually a little bit more of a tricky time for me mentally than it was then. Even though
you had a reason for escaping from the cage.
Even people then were like, you know, people who was like, "Are you okay? Like, how are you dealing with coming back and stuff like that?" And I was like, yeah, I'm good. Like, I've got this to look forward to. You know, the doctors say I've got to do this in 2 weeks, or in 2 months I can start grappling. And, you know, I constantly had like little goals that I could like work towards. Whereas now it's just like, right, just be ready, and we'll just like...
Now, the situation feels completely different for Aspinall. He explained that the lack of a clear plan or timeline is what makes this phase especially challenging. Instead of working toward a specific goal, he's simply being told to stay ready, without any indication of when or what he's preparing for. That uncertainty, he said, is the hardest part. While he fully recognizes that a fight with Jon Jones would be a defining moment in his career, the prolonged silence and ambiguity have turned into a daily mental battle. Aspinall is doing his best to stay sharp and in shape, but he admitted that maintaining focus without answers is mentally exhausting.
And it's kind of difficult, like, mentally to be like, but this is the fight against Jon Jones. Like, not the fight is another thing.
Yeah.
This is the tricky bit where I really have to stay switched on, stay motivated, and I'm trying my best.
Robert Whittaker also voiced his frustration over the prolonged build-up to the potential Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall fight. At this point, Whittaker admitted he's simply over it, that he expressed fatigue with the constant hype, non-stop interviews, and the media's obsession with grabbing reactions and sound bites. For Whittaker, the never-ending speculation has shifted from being exciting to just plain exhausting.
Honestly, who cares now?
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Like, I'm done. I'm done with waiting. It's like, yeah, it's like Elder Scrolls 6, dude. It's just like, you know what I mean? Just, you gotta have to play something else, man.
Yeah.
Like, I'm done. And honestly, everyone nagging him and poking at him and trying to get clips and stuff is worse for me. Like, they're like, yeah, it's way worse for me. It's just, I'm done with that.
Whittaker didn't stop there. He also questioned how Jon Jones has managed to hold on to the UFC title despite such a long period of inactivity. He recalled initially defending Jones, arguing that a champion of his caliber deserved time and respect. But now, Whittaker believes the situation has dragged on for too long, that he criticized the lack of movement in the division, suggesting Jones is taking advantage of his status. Whittaker also highlighted that it's been nearly a year since Tom Aspinall last stepped into the octagon, something he called ridiculous for an elite-level heavyweight.
I think...
I get it.
I don't know how Jones still holds the title, honestly. Like, I know I mentioned when we first started speaking about this many moons ago, how I was like, no one's stripping Jones. You can't do that to him. But, mate, come on. You take it... you take the out, I was like, but let just, I don't know, how long's it been since Tom's fought last?
Man, almost a year. It's actually insane.
Demetrius Johnson also weighed in on the potential Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall matchup, calling it a high-stakes gamble for Jones. According to Johnson, Aspinall presents a dangerous combination of youth, explosive athleticism, and knockout power, factors that could pose serious problems for even the most seasoned champion. What makes Aspinall especially risky, Johnson noted, is his unpredictability. With limited footage of opponents dealing with his style, there's still a lot of unknowns when it comes to preparing for him. From both a fighter's and analyst's perspective, Johnson described Aspinall as fast, agile, and capable of closing the distance with alarming speed. He emphasized that if Aspinall manages to land cleanly, very few fighters would be able to withstand the impact. Johnson concluded by warning that should Jones get caught and lose, the defeat would not only be historic, it would catapult Aspinall into superstardom, given Jones's legendary status in the sport.
And I think it's a huge risk.
Yep.
It's a huge risk. You're younger, you're athletic, you hit hard, you pose problems. We don't have much data on you, meaning that we don't know what happens if you do. And this is me speaking from an analyst and like my experience in MMA. Like if I was to fight Tom Aspinall, okay, what do I need to do? Okay, he's very fast, very athletic, light on his toes. Okay, he blitzes across the void. So if he gets across the void, can I take that shot? A lot of people have not been able to take that shot. So if he gets across that void and I get hit, I might go down. That happens, you become the biggest star ever. You just slayed the GOAT in a lot of people's eyes.
Johnson also considered the situation from Jon Jones's perspective, noting that even a victory over Aspinall might not earn Jones the full respect he deserves. He suggested that critics could downplay the win, labeling Aspinall as just another overhyped contender who wasn't ready for the big stage. Adding another layer to the discussion, Johnson speculated that Jones might be holding out for a massive payday, possibly in the range of $30 to $40 million. He emphasized that this was just his personal opinion, shaped by years of experience in the sport, and acknowledged that others might view the situation differently.
If I go out there, Jones' eyes, if I go out there and I beat him, it was just as his words said, he's here today, gone tomorrow, right? So that's my opinion, like from his standpoint, or maybe he wants $40 million. I have no idea, right? That's my opinion. Go ahead, give your piece. He asked the question, so it wasn't dark.
Gable Steveson also weighed in, offering respect to Tom Aspinall as a legitimate interim title holder who's earned the attention he's receiving. While he acknowledged the growing buzz around a potential matchup between Aspinall and Jon Jones, Steveson made it clear where he stands. Jones is still the undisputed champion in his eyes, until someone proves otherwise in the cage. Steveson emphasized that his view won't change unless Aspinall, or another top contender, manages to defeat Jones decisively. For now, he considers Jones the man to beat in the heavyweight division, regardless of the speculation or interim status.
Well, you're a big guy. What do you think about Tom Aspinall?
What do I think about Tom Aspinall? Man, I think Tom's a great interim champion. He's a really great interim champion. And there's a lot of buzz about him right now, about him in the Jon Jones situation. But I feel that Jon has been undisputed this whole time. And I'll stand by that forever until someone else tries to do something about it. And if it's not Tom, then someone else can try too. So Jon is definitely undisputed right now.
Steveson also praised Tom Aspinall for his determination in chasing a fight with Jon Jones, calling it a sign of true ambition and competitive spirit. He respected Aspinall's persistence, but cautioned that it's still too early to judge anything definitively until Jones steps back into active competition. Steveson reminded fans that Jones has dominated the sport for nearly 2 decades, a feat unmatched by any other fighter. He expressed some frustration with younger fans who, in his view, often overlook or minimize Jones's legacy. Steveson pointed to iconic victories over legends like Shogun Rua, Lyoto Machida, Rampage Jackson, Rashad Evans, and Daniel Cormier as undeniable proof of Jones's greatness. While acknowledging the controversies that have surrounded Jones, Steveson stressed that even Daniel Cormier, an all-time great in his own right, suffered his only career losses at the hands of Jones. To him, that alone speaks volumes about Jones's dominance and elite skill level.
I like Tom in the sense of Tom's a go-getter and he's trying to fight for what's right and trying to get the Jon Jones fight, and I applaud that. But until further notice, until Jon steps in the cage, I feel like we really can't say nothing.
I mean, it's been, what, 20 years? 20 years he's been on top. No one's done that.
No one. So, and we're in a new generation of social media that kids haven't recognized Jon's past of being that great. So it bothers me because growing up, I'm watching UFC and I'm watching Jon take care of business when I'm 9 and 10 years old, 11 years old. And now we got a new generation of teenagers that are just like, oh, but we're going to forget about Jon beating Shogun. We're going to forget about Jon beating Machida. We're going to forget about Jon beating Evans and Rampage and everybody else. And
Cormier. Sonnen, Cormier twice. Oh, he dirty, they say.
Cormier's only losses are to the best guys in their weight class, like forever best guys. And so you can't discredit it. You can't. So, and do I like Tom? I think Tom.
Coach Eric Nixick also offered insight into the potential clash from a technical standpoint, highlighting Tom Aspinall's exceptional hand speed as a key weapon. However, he was quick to acknowledge Jon Jones's expertise in controlling range and neutralizing opponents' strengths. Nixick referenced Jones's bout against Stipe Miocic as a prime example. In that fight, Jones switched to a southpaw stance and effectively nullified Miocic's jab, disrupting his timing and limiting his offensive options. According to Nixick, he and Aspinall have already had detailed discussions about staying out of the mid-range. The the zone where Jones is most effective. He stressed the importance of being aggressive and calculated in those critical exchanges to prevent Jones from dictating the pace and rhythm of the fight.
What advantages do you see that he has over Jon Jones?
I think hand speed. But what Jon does very well, and what we saw in the Stipe fight, is Jon will occupy your hand. So Stipe is one of his best weapons is always his jab. So you saw Jon switch to southpaw, lead hand occupy, which left Stipe with one punch, which was a cross. So he was timing the cross to pull off and then was adding on. So I think when you break that fight down, I actually talked to Tom on Monday. We were kind of going back and forth a little bit on some of the game planning things. You can't be in that B range and just kind of get snake charmed by Jon. Let him grab your hands, let him dictate the pace, let him dictate the rhythm. You have to be hyper aggressive in those positions, and I think that's what Tom would have to do in that fight.
Rampage Jackson shared high praise for Jon Jones, expressing doubt that anyone in the sport today can truly defeat him. Reflecting on their own past encounter, Rampage admitted he was in peak physical condition at the time, but it still wasn't enough to overcome Jones's skill and strategy. While he acknowledged Tom Aspinall's talent and potential, Rampage doesn't view him as a significant threat to Jones. He mentioned hearing that Jones is planning to dedicate about 6 months to preparing specifically for Aspinall, likely focusing on analyzing his fighting style in meticulous detail. Rampage also emphasized Jones's exceptional fight IQ, even likening him to Neo from The Matrix for his uncanny ability to read opponents and control the flow of a fight like no one else in the sport.
You fought Jon Jones back in the day. People are
why you only bringing up my losses?
People are all talking about Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall. How do you see that fight going? You got Tom or you got Jon?
Man, I don't think there's nobody on this planet that can beat Jon Jones, because I was in there with him. I was at my best, and I've never lost a fight at my best until Jon Jones. And, you know, no disrespect to Tom Aspinall, but he a good fighter. You know what I'm saying? I think he's probably second best out there, but I don't see him.
You think Jon Jones finishes him?
I think Jon Jones is just a real smart fighter. I heard something like he want to take 6 months before he fight Aspinall. I think it's because he want to study him. He want to break him down, you know. Right. Jon Jones ain't no fool. He's probably one of the smartest fighters out there. I say he like Neo. He's Neo MMA.
Stipe Miocic offered some veteran wisdom for Tom Aspinall, emphasizing the critical importance of not allowing Jon Jones to control the pace of the fight. Miocic explained that this principle applies universally, not just against Jones, that he noted that once a fighter lets their opponent set the tempo and dictate the space inside the octagon, they're already at a major disadvantage. Miocic called it one of the most common and costly mistakes fighters make at the elite level.
No, 100%. I think also, too, is that you just don't let them dictate what you want. So there's any fighter, it's not just Jon Jones, any fight, don't let them dictate what they want to do, because you let them do what they want, that's the end of the road for you.
Miocic also praised Jon Jones as one of the smartest and most unpredictable fighters in MMA history. Reflecting on his own experience, he offered a cautionary note to Tom Aspinall, not to fall into the trap of absorbing damaging shots, especially to the body, which can quickly shift the momentum of a fight at the same time. Miocic acknowledged Aspinall's strengths, citing his power, fluid movement, and impressive composure under pressure. He believes that if Aspinall can maintain focus and avoid being drawn into Jones's rhythm, he stands a real chance of making a statement in the cage.
He's as good as one of the best of all time, if not the best of all time. He's just smart, real tricky.
What's the best advice you'd give Tom Aspinall?
Don't do what I did.
Avoid the liver shot.
Yeah, I mean, what are you gonna do? But I think Tommy, that guy, he's super tough, and he hits hard. He moves well. He's a big man. I think that he stays calm on the situation, and whatever happens, he just stays calm. I think he'll be fine. He picks his shots. He's smart what he does, and I think he'll do fine.
Georges St-Pierre also weighed in on Jon Jones's legacy, calling him arguably the greatest MMA fighter of all time. If he had to choose a single athlete in their prime to represent the sport in a pure, unfiltered fight, St-Pierre said he'd pick Jon Jones without hesitation. That he acknowledged that every fighter eventually experiences a decline, but emphasized that Jones's body of work, dominance, and lasting influence on the sport are undeniable. In St-Pierre's view, Jones's legacy is already cemented among the all-time greats.
Legacy, like Jon Jones, it's probably the best fighter that ever lives. Talk about, if I have to choose someone in his prime that I put in the Coliseum hand to hand, I think I would be Jon Jones. You know, it's hard to deny that.
St-Pierre also spoke highly of Tom Aspinall's potential, praising his recent performances and calling a matchup with Jon Jones very intriguing. He noted that Aspinall clearly has the hunger and drive to prove himself on the sport's biggest stage, traits that could make for an exciting and competitive showdown. However, St-Pierre emphasized that the decision ultimately rests with Jones and whether he still has the desire to compete at the highest level. He also called on the UFC to step up with a compelling financial offer to make the fight a reality, expressing hope that fans will eventually get to see this highly anticipated clash.
However, nobody beats time, and Tom Aspinall is on a hell of a run now. So it's to see how they get a match. You know, it's hard to say. It's hard to say. As a fan, I want to see this fight. I would like to see this fight, but I think Tom is very hungry, and it's up to Jon to see if he still wants to do this and if the UFC can compensate him good, because I think he deserves it. So it's going to be
Eddie Hall made a bold prediction, stating that Tom Aspinall would defeat Jon Jones if they ever faced off. While he acknowledged Jones's legendary status in MMA, Hall believes that Aspinall's raw talent, explosive speed, and still untapped potential would ultimately give him the edge in the matchup.
Jon Jones or Tom Aspinall. So if you don't know MMA world, sorry to bore you, but Tom Aspinall is the UFC's #1 right now. Jon Jones is, you know, he's seen as the best MMA fighter on the planet. Dana White's got a massive for him, says he's unbeatable. Honestly, I think if you put Jon Jones and Tom Aspinall in a room and said one man leaves, I think Tom Aspinall leaves that room. I genuinely do. I think Jon Jones, I mean, I can't badmouth the guy. He's got an amazing record, but he's definitely ducking Tom Aspinall, 100%. And I think he's even said he doesn't want to fight Tom Aspinall after his next fight. He's pretty much going to retire after this fight. So
Hall didn't hold back, even suggesting that Jon Jones's apparent reluctance to accept the fight could be a sign of fear. He emphasized that in MMA, what happens inside the cage matters far more than talk outside of it. Hall stood firm in his belief that if the two were to meet in the octagon, Tom Aspinall would emerge victorious.
I mean, he can say what he wants, but actions speak louder than words. So, there we go. Anyway, the answer to that question is Tom Aspinall. Tom Aspinall is kicking Jon Jones.
So what do you think? Could Tom Aspinall be the one to dethrone Jon Jones? Or will Jones continue his reign as the GOAT? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear your take. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss a breakdown like this.